Okay, hey guys, I'm gonna start the tutorial now. If you hear the music in the background, it's because I've got my iHeartRadio on the Adele station. So I don't know how long that'll last. I'll probably get sick of it, but it is what it is for now. Step one, make sure you've got something to paint in. Normally I'm shirtless, but I'm not about to show you all my fat, so make sure you have a smock, a painting dress, something similar. Um, Hit your hair with a little bit of hairspray, get it out of your face, and make sure your face is clean shaven and clean. Wash your face. Um, if you have, like right now I'm in a breakout mode, as you see here, and some other spots. If you have some breakout, don't worry about it. As long as you do your foundation, contour, powder, highlight, all that stuff correct, it shouldn't show up, depending on what product you're using. I've got the screen at a bit of an angle so I can also see my mirror because I'm actually using my HP all-in-one computer. So yeah, just bear with me. If you see me look back, it's because I looked at the mirror. I don't like this whole screen delay. There's a hair of a delay. So, alright. First thing is first, you would usually hit your face really quickly with, I like to use like a setting spray first. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it causes everything to stick and adhere better. So you might want to hit your face with that. Since I don't have a show tonight, I'm not wasting mine. I'm just going to hit it with some hairspray. Freeze it actually, and then move to the next. So just lightly mist, that's it. Next step for me is primer. Normally I really like Benefit's That Girl Primer, but for this I'm going to show you guys a cheap and really good route, and I found it just here recently, but chafing or diaper rash cream, as you see here, it's just the cheap, it's like a monostat for chafing, whatever. This is really good as an all-over primer. So I would suggest, if you're broke or you're looking for a way to get the same effect, that you go get this. I technically like it better than most primers I've used. So, and you can use this more generously. It's not, you don't have to worry so much. So, and then you just spread. I do all over. I used probably like a half of a dime sized amount. Okay. That should tack up real quick, dry very fast if you're using this kind. If you glue on your earrings, make sure you hit that too. It'll cause it to heal better and not get as broke out. Next step, Derma blend. Almost out, but it's enough. So my backup, if I'm broke, is to go get some Mayron Pan Stick, and it'll work as well. But I always say Derma blend. I think you get the best coverage from it, and you just swipe in here. Just wipe it around. Take. Apply. Same thing. Wipe, apply. So here we go. I cover my lips. A lot of people don't. They say it hinders the color of the product that you put on it, but I want that 100% palette. You really don't have to blend with the sponge either when you're applying. I use beauty blenders, so this just puts it on. around your eyes. I don't like swiping. That increases like bags under your eyes and crow's feet and da 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 da. So I stipple around the eyes or stipple. I have a birthmark here. It usually ends up covered. I don't go all the way down the neck. I go about 3/4 of the way because you're going to blend down there. Again, if you glue earrings on or you don't magnet, I suggest you hit the lobe of the ear pretty heavy. I actually cover my whole ear with foundation. I don't want to see a red ear and a tan face, but that's just me. Go into the hair, guys. It's up and in. Everybody's like, oh, don't put in your hair. Go into the hair. It's going to give you a better forehead blend, sort of typical areas, you know. It's going to blend up there better. Okay. Once you've relatively got it on, I know it seems kind of bright in here, but I've got our bathroom has a spotlighting effect. Maybe that'll help. We'll see. Beauty blenders. I have 3. I have this one is for foundation. This one is for highlight. And this one is contour. You wet them. Make sure you wet them with cold water. Fully submerge them, get them full of water, and wring all that water out until it's not dripping anymore. The water in it is what's going to help keep it porous to where it goes on and blends and makes everything seamless. But once you do that, then you just stipple or stiple, whatever you call it, with this. And it's an all over. When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheek? Get around the eyes and under the eye, very good. Corners of your nose, especially if you have creasing there. And everybody forgets the nostril area, always. One sec, I'm going to try to make the lighting a bit better for you guys. I think that's a little bit better. I'm not one of those girls, even though I'm bigger, and it's not wrong to do it. A lot of girls like to tape their boobs up or, you know, to get the cleavage. I don't do that. I draw mine on. I hate binding here because it just makes everything so uncomfortable. So normally what I'm doing on the face and neck would continue down into sort of a triangle shape on my chest because I'm going to paint on my cleavage. However, I'm not doing that today. So if you are not one of those girls that continue it down or show a lot of chest or whatever, then you want to go about 1/4 of the way right under where the neck meets the chest. And you want to have almost a circular pattern. Okay. on. Next is highlight. I only use one thing. I do all pre-contour, pre-highlight. I do a little bit afterwards as well with powders, but most everything is cream pre-contour. So I use the Midnight Clown White and not the light formula or the weaker one. No, I use the straight up. I put it on the sponge, as you see. Da, 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 da. Above the eye. In a rounded or circular arc. Same with the other. If you're using the stronger formula, it goes further. You don't have to put nearly as much on. If you're using the light, you're going to have to put more. Under the eye, just right underneath it, both sides, and it should connect to that arc on the top of the eye. It should go all the way to the bridge of the nose, right? All the way. You should almost have a mime or mask look. Now, once that's there, some people continue it all the way to the hairline. Some people do not. I do not, unless I feel like I want to do Alyssa Edwards for the night or something like that. Just make sure it's all blended out, it's not chunky. You'll reapply a little bit to your sponge. Not tons though, just smear. And you want center forehead to where forehead meets nose and connect the two arcs. So you're going to go in a rainbow effect. And go a little bit higher to almost right to the hairline. Not quite, but almost. Bring it down. You want to do your Cupid's bow. And for me, I like a white Cupid's bow, so I use quite a bit. Chin, right in the center. And I go center to lip. So down from the base of the chin up to lip. And I pack it heavy. Now that everything on my sponge is pretty well used, I can blend that out. I just don't want too much blended out. Oh, I gotta open this door. It's hot. Same thing here. You want to blend that underneath the eye down to the base of, or the top of your cheek before the cheekbone would start. And the same at the arc. Blend it into your foundation to where the two colors become seamless. You don't want to see the lines of having that circular pattern or that rainbow arc, whatever. Okay, now I'm going to take a strip straight down the nose. It doesn't matter how wide it is, everything's going to change in a minute. I just want to make sure that base is on that nose to make sure that when I apply powder to it, it's going to highlight. But blend everything out. You don't want to have lines. If you do see some lines, go back to your foundation beauty blender and buff the two together. It's a good thing to grab it anyways because I go around the outer lining of my face with it to make sure the two are blended together. And a swipe on the sides of the nose, I just flatten it and that's it. But anywhere that the white's going to meet foundation, you want to blend it out. Make sure it doesn't look like a bunch of lines. I'm not fond of this camera. Okay. After you have your cream highlight on, I'm gonna do my cream contour, and I use mostly, it doesn't have to be this, but Coffee Bean by Ben Nye. It's technically what you would consider more of a black girl color or somebody of a darker skin, but it is quite dark. It is a very, very dark brown. And I get my contour blender, which I need a new one. It's like falling apart. But you get attached to your beauty blenders, especially when they're 20 bucks a piece. Okay, I'll start with the side, always. Top of ear. I go towards the corner of the mouth. I do not connect. So you want to. And then you're going to go, I go up the temple. Into the hairline, or if you're receding, or you just have a big forehead. Till you like the coverage. Try not to swipe, because you're just going to remove everything. Same thing on this side. Okay. And up the temple. Same thing. You'll go through this a lot quicker too. It's an oilier product. A lot of people use their brushes for this. I have never been a fan of brushes for anything that's cream. I think it ends up looking less blended, more streaky. But if you use a brush, then just do this with your brushes. I can't stand when I see the girls who use their fingers. Fingers are oily. That's just too much. Okay. Chin, underneath. If you're skinny, I don't recommend doing this to the underneath, your neck or anywhere that we would have a double chin. I don't recommend that skinny people do that. It can end up looking bruisish. So I forego that step. At the end of your makeup, when we get to the powder contouring, you can hit it with some light pink or something, but this will end up making you look like you're bruised. For bigger girls, we end up looking skinny. I follow the face line to behind the ear, go to the hair. All the way. I go all the way back to the hair. It should not take multiple swipes. You don't want this to be craziness, but sides of the chin, I hit both to where it gives me more of a pointed chin or an Alec look or a chinzilla, whatever you want to call it. Before any of this is blended out, the last thing I hit is the nose, flatten it out again. You should still have enough on it. And I do my sides, each side of the nose. 1 and 2, to where I've created a bridge there underneath. Okay, right where your natural eyebrow would be, I shaved mine off. If you're a glue or eyebrow person, sorry about it. You won't get that here in this tutorial. But right where the natural eyebrow should be, on both sides. You're going to look crazy. And you're going to be like, oh God, I've messed up. No. Now you're going to go in and blend it out. Everything in makeup is fixable. You will not make a mistake. So don't go in here just panicked. Play around with it as long as you can fix it. And everything, in my opinion, is fixable. I know a lot of girls are like, ooh, I went too high, or oops. It's fixable. I connect that, what I did there at the natural brow area, I connect that to my temple contour. You'll see why in a minute, I think. I don't know, we'll see. Sides of the nose, you don't have to worry about blending out so much. This you do. And I would do this in swipes and swipe down. After you've swiped down, you can go back over it and pat. And you want to hit that face line and bring it up some. That chin should be very poignant though. Do not blend it into that white, to that highlight. Let it be. Go back to your foundation, and you're gonna go right here where that highlight meets the contour. And go around, blend that together. This is the best one for it. It's a mix of like the two colors. It's not as dark as the contour, but not as light as the highlight. So it's perfect for blending the two together. Same thing, forehead, that temple line, blend it together. If you're gonna blend the nose, then I would use this. Especially if you feel like you got the nose too dark, that'll save you. But everywhere that my contour meets another face color, I blend it out. You notice though I do not blend the bottom of that cheek. Leave that a little harder. You want that hard cut. Okay, last but not least is to move back to the highlighting, and you want to reaffirm that highlight. Or you will end up looking, and you want to go right at the base of the nose, and I cover one nostril. Okay. And I create that line all the way up the nose, like make it white to dark. I do right here at the button to increase the size of the button. If I'm going to do a button nose, even if you're not, it's still smart. Go ahead and do it. All I'm basically doing is brightening my my highlight back up where my contour, I may have just muddied it up a bit. This is how you redo and brighten it. And I do the chin again and cover the exact brown line, but don't blend it out. Just hit it once or so, whatever you think it needs. I have silk, so I go on my apple more. I want that to be a bit more highlighted. I don't want it to be as dark. Some people want that dark, and I get it. But for me, I want it to show roundness. And that's with highlight. Contour takes away, highlight adds. Make sure underneath your eyes are not messy. Otherwise, that's what'll cause you later, your eyes to run a lot. Alright, that's all I do with the pre-contour. Should be pretty well done. Okay, and it's at this point you're going to move to powder. Always first is face powder, just your normal, whatever your normal face color would be. Good Lord, I've got about 100. I use Coty Airspun. That's what I prefer. The color I'm using today is a mix of rosy beige and honey beige. And don't be afraid to mix your powders, guys. Pay attention to your brushes. I'm the world's worst at my brushes need cleaned, and I'm lazy and don't do it, so I might hit my face and now I have a black smudge, and now I've got to go fix something. But so don't be afraid, or don't. What am I trying to say? Watch your brushes. A good way to do that is to keep a shirt or a towel or a makeup cloth or something like that, to where you can, a light colored one, where you can hit it with the brush and see what color is currently going on in it. Or just pay attention. I just grab brushes and go to town. I'm using my MAC brushes. Some of them are MAC, but they're old, but I love them. So you want a good powder brush. Powder, and apply. And I kind of stick to the shapes I've just created. You can go on your contour and you can go on your face color. Do not go on your highlight with it. Don't forget the ear, because we put foundation on our ears. Okay, now if you did your cupid's bow right, your whole top lip should almost be white and your bottom lip should be flesh tone. You're going to do the bottom lip with your regular powder. Flatten your brush, or, you know, create a fan effect, unless you have a fan brush, but I just don't like switching at this point. And you're going to hit the side of the nose and the other side where we contoured. Underneath. Okay. Get a highlight brush. Typically my highlighting brushes look like this. I like the shape for it. That shape holds the highlight powder very, very well. So I can, typically the goal is to use less, but it still looks like more. I have two different colors for highlight depending on what, you know, what the venue is and what their lighting is. The stronger the spotlight, the less white you want to go. The weaker the lighting, or if they use more of an all-over light or have this colored stage lights, then you probably want to go a bit stronger. I'm going to use, I know it's in the eauty container, but I just saved my old ones so I can mix powders in them, and this is Ben Nye Fair mixed with super white.
It's me.
I apply just like we did with the cream. A lot of it's going to fall down, And that's fine because that's less you have to put on underneath the eye. You're going to go right under the line of the contour you made on the sides of your nose, right under it. Sorry, this lighting isn't the best. I'm gathering that. I can see it in the video, but I'm just hoping that after I'm done with this and I look at it, it'll be different. I'm assuming that's how it always turns out for me. Okay. A lot of people pack it on and they say, do not blend it in, let it cook, da 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 da. I'm different. I say pack it on and blend it all out first. And get your base. Otherwise, you end up with a lot of fall off, and all through the night you're reapplying highlight because you didn't pack it and let it sit. For me, I'm gonna apply, blend it in, pack it into my skin, and then go back and touch it again heavier. And this isn't the brightest highlight. If I wanted it to really be bright, I would have used pure super white. But the venue I'm at right now, we have a lighted back wall behind us. By the way, don't ever paint with a light on behind you. You'll look like Ghostface from Scream. But with the lighted wall, everything tends to get washed out. So you want, with that effect, or if they've got a lot of lighting colors, you want to come across more of like tan, like Girl at the Beach, because it's actually going to look better and more blended than pow drag. Okay, you're going to apply right, anywhere that you highlighted, you're going to put it on. And it should still have that rainbow effect, or arc, whatever. Slightly go down the tip of the nose, chin. You don't want your chin to be the brightest place on your face, so definitely don't cook it as long as you're going to cook everything else. But hit the chin, and you want the Cupid's bow area to, after you've got makeup on, to actually have white in the divot, like you've drawn it on and now it's white inside it. You want that little highlight effect, so you really want to put it on for there. I would even suggest that if you're not using straight super white by midnight, you do for this. I think I'm out, otherwise I would. Okay. After that's all there, I do a quick buff. Go back to your foundation brush, buff where everything meets. Do the fan effect again, or get a fan brush and down that contour on the sides, underneath, anywhere that you may have got white powder that we don't want to. And you're going to end up with just, you're like, oh, that's kind of, it's not bad, it'll work. But that's when I go back on, and right now I'm using, this is Coty powder, naturally neutral. It has more of a tan effect, but after you've used the super white, it's really going to punch the highlight through. Typically make a circle. Just see how bright that seems, even though it's darker. I don't know, it's weird. Under eye, before top. And this is what's going to cook for a minute. So you do want to put it on thicker. You want it to sit in. Strip down the nose. Doesn't matter how thick, all that's going to change. Now you want to, I press for the top, especially on the brow bone where my natural brow would be. Press it in. But between this circle and what you put on here, there should be a line of darker between the two. Some people like to use the big powder Puffs. I used to be that girl, and I quit just because I think that this ends up being a bit more seamless in the end product. So I do like brushes for powdering over the puff. Right in the center of the chin, hit it with that highlight and press, but do not fan it out. I do the very end, like the two nostrils and the button, but not underneath. Before we move on, while this is cooking, I hit underneath the nose, underneath it, and go in an effect to blend that in. Just at the lines though, don't go all the way up on it, that's going to cook for a bit. But I don't want to ruin everything else if it did get further down into my face color. Or you're going to look like Ghostface again. Ghostface keeps coming up. I hate this song, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but that frickin' Twilight frickin' song, Christina Perri, whatever. So my painting might get bitchy here until this song changes. Okay, I just redid everything that I've already done, and it's gonna cook. Notice how I'm already skinnier because of the neck crap. You can put most of your powders away, though I would suggest the one that you're going to use to highlight for the rest of the night. At this point, you can keep it out because you're going to use it multiple times. However, if you're like, I end up being messy, but I want to be that girl that puts everything away when she's done. Next process for me, which we're not there yet, but the next thing is going to be eyebrows. So I go ahead and get out my eyebrow pencil, get it ready, da 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 da. If I'd have thought about this better, I would have had everything out already and ready to go. But I didn't. But I do think it's time for a cigarette. So as I sit here and cook and smoke, this is going to keep playing. I'll just edit it, I hope. This is where also the Alyssa Edwards game should start, where you're, you know, the weird crap. Right when you think we're about done cooking for the moment, we're going to move on. We'll hit our face one more time with the hairspray. I'm not a fan of using hairspray on the face. It clogs the pores even worse than the makeup. It's terrible. You're going to end up wrinkled and everything, but I'm not wasting my good stuff, so. Typically I would use probably Ben Nye setting spray NYX, NYX, whatever I say NYX, at Sephora or Ulta Beauty Supplies. You can get it at any of those places, I believe. Has a cheap one for like $7, maybe $5. They have two. There's one that's called Matte and one that's called Dewy. That's typically up to you. I would go with Matte. But yeah, for this we're gonna use good old Freeze It.
I've never seen a dog.
Ooh, there's my painting song.
No postcode, but every dripping in the bathroom, blood stains, trash in the hotel room. We don't care. We drive a Cadillac Cherokee, but everybody's out
Everybody's in bed. It's like 4:30 in the morning. Bored. I wasn't sure what computer I was going to use. I was going to use the laptop. So I set up my little jewelry display over here because I was going to like go to it at times and turn the laptop and it just be there as promotion, but whatever. And you want to be bougie. You want a nice, pretty ashtray that is just, why would she have that ashtray? But there you go, there's my ashtray. If all of this hasn't had sound, I am going to be pissy. Pissy, pissy, pissy. Okay, in case I'm editing, then we are going to move on now. Alright, I already sharpened the pencil. Typically when it comes to eyebrow pencils, I don't use too much because I do most of it with powders, but I give myself an outline and I freehand. So if you guys use stencils, sorry about it. That crap gets on my nerves. Eyebrow pencils, you can really use anything. There's a bunch of horrible brands out there, but I would say go get the 99-cent Jordana pencils at Walgreens. That's really not typical of me to say. I'm usually like, ooh, MAC, da-da-da-da-da, but Jordana, they work just as well as anything else. So this is just a brown, a normal brown, medium color. And you find your nose, just like this, hit that nose line. You want to go to where your brow typically starts, and I put just a little dash, just to see it. Same thing over here on this side. Follow the nose, put a dash. Okay, and what that's going to give you, that's where your eyebrow should start, the bottom line. So, after that I freehand, and it's going to go, hope you guys can see. Let's find that dash. I draw kind of light. Most people are like putting that eyebrow on. I go kind of light because I don't want it to be determined right now, the exact shape. I just want to give myself the outline. You might have to wipe it off several times or resharpen. I think that anytime you're doing the eyebrow, the pencil should be sharp. You want a fine line. You don't want a blunt tip to smear. So, again, wipe it off. You're going to have highlight and powder and stuff on it. Follow it up. I go up until I hit that temple bone, what I call right here. On both sides, you'll have that obvious bone. I go up to that. There can be a slight curve to it. Don't get too curvy, or you're going to end up with like divine brows, unless that's what you're going for. Once you get to that brow bone, I go out with a slight down. So I want to go close to my hairline. And this should be the fine part, so make sure it's sharp. You don't want it to be too smeared. Which, good old Ulta sharpener. Ooh, see, I need my mirror for this. I'm gonna go out quite a ways, actually. Most people are like, whoa. But I went all the way to about here. Sometimes if I'm filling my oats, it'll be in my hair. Whatever. Then I'm gonna go the width of the tip that you just sharpened. Line the bottom of it up, and that's gonna be the width of my eyebrow. That's how I typically do it. I know freehand where to go, but to show you guys, it should typically be about the width of the sharpened end. And I go up, but as you're going up, you want to go to the brow, to this brow bone point, top. So a little bit up, but more over. And then this happens, and I probably end up switching 100 million times to a different one. You'll find that if you leave them in your makeup case for too long, or you've had it for too long, and with pencils I have them quite a while because I don't use them too much, that the older they get, they lose their pigmentation or this or that. Which a lot of people say, well, that's why you should use the expensive or the good brands. Well, they do it too. I just switched to a NK. Most typical wig stores have NK product. Switched to it. They're better, but they're also greasier. So it's always going to have more of a smear to it. Just touch that bottom line up for you. Go back to the top, up and over. Most of the thickness of a brow, if I'm doing it, comes from going up and up and up, like on top of the lines. I don't just draw it on that shape. So you have your shape down. Okay, now I did something a little bit on purpose to show you guys how easy of a fix this is, but when you're going up with the bottom line originally, where I said don't put too much curve in it, if you do, you're going to end up with this part being real thick and quickly it fades into the skinny tail. I don't like that personally, so I'll go back to the bottom line and just to bring it down a smidge and blend it together to where I got more of a straight line and less of a curve or an arch to it. I don't like it when that happens. The darker the brush you use right here, like if you do ombre brows, which is what I'm going to do here in a minute, the darker the pencil, the more work you're going to have to put into that ombre brow. So I typically try to stay to a lighter brown, nude, regular brown. This one tends to be a bit darker. Okay, same with this eye. Okay, you're gonna also remember that old saying, sisters, not twins. It should not look perfect. The girls that use those stencils and their eyebrows look perfect. When they're on stage, I always can tell they stenciled on a brow because it looks fake. So you want them to be a shade different, but not ungodly. And that's usually going to come in where your arch is in your brow, because one will typically be a hair higher than the other. Okay, then you're going to check them out. I have a little smear right here. I don't care. You won't see it in a bit. As a matter of fact, when I get into the eye work, parts of my brow are going to end up covered, and you guys are going to be like, well, she just covered her brow. It's whatever. I remember Circuit, whatever, Loris, whatever. She and I got into it one time about ombre brows because she's like, I had these on, and she's like, well, that's not typically an ombre brow. You just left it hollow. Aware. But sometimes after all the makeup is on and you go in here and fill in just a little bit with like nudes, I like the way that these look at times. But yeah, it's not an ombre brow yet, but you're on the right track. This is how I start mine. After this, I've got the brow shapes on, I move along and we're going to go into eye work, and I will finish the brows almost towards the end of everything. So, step one for me when we're going into eye work is the part that most people hate or have problems with or say, oh God, I hate doing that, I don't want to do that, and that is liquid liner. But to me it's the most crucial. I use liquid liner markers. You can get the thick ones, you can get skinny ones, you can get angled, whatever, as long as it works for you. I just ordered these from China. They're the 36H, and I'm a huge fan so far. The pigment to the black in it is very, very, very black. It is a fine point. I started with the thick markers, but I drifted to the fine point. I still like the precision. So most people start on the inside. I do not. I start in the middle of the eye to give myself that definition and follow off of it. Depending on what kind of eye I'm doing will depend on the tail. I'm going to give you guys a typical eye tonight. Most people will use a crease to where sometimes, especially here lately, I've preferred the smoke out effect, smoky eye, but I'll give you a crease tonight because that's what most people do. Okay, do not make your inside tail yet, but this is what the first looks like. Then I go from where that, and I'm weird, remember this, I cover my entire lid, and it's just a process of going over and over and over because I want to keep a good pointed line, fine line. And it also depends on your face shape. Some people won't be able to do this, whereas 99% of you should be able to. It just depends. If you are real skinny and have the giant eyes, then sorry about your luck. And just cover that lid. I want my arch to come up more towards, not right in the middle of the eye, but towards the outer edge. So you want to arch that kind of high. If you are doing an Adele impersonation or look, your eyes are almost done. But make sure it's fine pointed. Just stay on that line, thicker and thicker. Where you stop the thickness is up to you. It depends on the placement of your crease. For me, it's about right there. And that's all I'm going to do at the moment. Replace your cap. Those dry out quick. Black eyeshadow and your angle brush. These are what you're after. Yeah, I should have been prepared better. Sorry, guys. I had my angle brush out.
She ain't real. She ain't gonna be able to love you like I will. She is a stranger.
And if you're anything like me, you're sitting there looking at about 10 different, be careful with opening your eye too, you don't want to smear it up. That's another plus to doing your whole lid, it just kind of folds on itself. But you've probably got about 10 angle brushes, and they're all not the one you want. Or they aren't correct. I'm just looking for my favorite one, good old trusty. And I just seen that while ago. There it is. Okay, I've had this almost since I started drag. That's where I'm telling you, if you find a brush you like, you can make it last. Because I've been doing this for 16 years, and it was really close to the start when I got this brush. It's a cheap brush. The brand is Sense, but for some reason, it just works. But it's got an angle to it. Thinner with an angle. Black eyeshadow, I like Black Tide by MAC. Many things work. A lot of people use carbon, and they're like, ooh, well, Black Tide has glitter in it. You said don't use glitter. You can't see it. You can't see the glitter. But it just seems a bit darker to me. And then I just go over with the Black Tide. I go over that liquid eyeliner to clean up that line. And I go just a little bit above to give it just a tad bit of smoke to it. Not a ton. And I use a stipple or stipple effect, meaning tapping. I'm not too smeary until I get to like this corner, and then I'll pull my line out. But I pull that line out almost really close. As a matter of fact, sometimes I've touched them, but just it should go real close. But blend that black up just a little. And stipple all around the liquid that you just put on. But what you're doing basically is setting it. Okay, you can kind of see where it goes a little lighter towards the top because I blended up just a bit. Now I want to get my liquid again, now that I've done that, because I don't really like a rounded inside, I like a pointed. And you need to follow the shape of the eye. I cannot be more precise about that. I've seen so many people do this part so different. I like it to go in the shape that's been drawn on of the eye. So for me, that goes down just a hair and a little out. But after you've got that on, connect it to the bottom. I used to do a really widened bottom. Now I just, sounds crazy, where the bag of my eye is, like you see that ridge, that's where I draw this at. I leave just a little bit of the nude in the middle, or like the water line. I leave that a bit because I apply something there in a minute, you'll see. Connect to your point and go up towards the corner. Do not put it into the corner on the water line. If you have problems with your eyes watering, this is why. There's another couple of reasons, like your Midnight Clown White Cream, getting up there. But typically it's always this, and you can tell because when your eye starts running, if it affects this liquid, that's why. The outer corner that I'm putting on right now, that connects to the wing, should be thicker. If you don't, when you close your eye or squint, the bottom just is going to disappear. So you want to make sure it's a bit thicker towards this outside corner of the eye. And you'll have to keep adjusting to make sure that the line goes seamlessly. But typically the thicker that is, and the more height you give it going this way, the better it's going to come out. But that should be what it looks like. You close one more time before we go to the other eye. I'm not going to talk on the other eye, I'm just going to fly through it since I'm showing you here. But back with your black shadow. And you just want to set it. You don't really have to go below this line too much. You can a hair if you want to smoke it, but I go below with whatever my main eye color is and create the blend with the color, not my black. Otherwise you're going to end up putting black and white. And trust me, there was a point in time where everything I done was just ended up putting black and white makeup. Any chance you get to add some color, do it. Sometimes I like a colored eyeliner too, for the right look. Before you move to the other side, I call this like my little dusting tool for eye work. So it looks like your powder brush, but it's small. And any of that black shadow that fell, get it off. Do not stipple it off, that'll beat it in. You want to sweep, remove. Okay, I'm going to move to the other eye, be a bit quicker about this one. Everybody has one eye that always turns out better than the other. This is always typically my harder one, because I'm a lefty. Look at your other eye for your height. Remember, you blend it up a little bit with black powder, so don't go just high or you're going to end up wonky. But I have a lazy eye anyway, so I always get that wonky lazy eye effect on one of them. Typically this one is smaller. If you're not sure if you got them even, you can squint. If you notice, not even. This one's much thicker. If I get closer, you can see that I've got like a little black dot there. That'll be gone. Okay, it's close enough that I can go ahead with the black powder. Pulling out that wing. I'm very anal retentive about makeup. I'll go over something 30 million times until I think it's where I want it. You don't have to be. That's just me. I'm crazy like that. Okay, bottom. The biggest question I always hear is, sorry, my nose is itching. It's not booger. The biggest question I always get is, oh my god, my stuff is messy. Oh my god, it's messy. What do I do? Who cares? Makeup fixes itself if you know how to put it on, then you know how to correct it. If you do not know how to put it on, then you do not know how to correct problems. I can guarantee you. But if I just sat here and told you how to get it on there, you should obviously know how to correct. It's a little bit thicker, doesn't matter. You're not going to notice it later. Black. Why it gotta be black? Just set that black really good with this black shadow. That's the goal. You're setting. I have naturally watery eyes. It doesn't matter what's happening. They'll water. So until my bottom lash is on, there's going to be several times throughout this that you're going to be like, ooh, her eye's smearing. Don't worry about it. My bottom lash covers it. Now when I take those lashes off at the end of the show, oh. And see, I wasn't going to blend this down much, but since I got the other side thicker, the blending it down or smoking the bottom liner will save you there. Where you don't have to go in and make a correction or get your Derma Blend or foundation out and have to reduce. I don't like reducing makeup, I like adding. Okay. Again, brush off both sides. So anyways, you're going to get this effect. It's typically what it's going to look like. A lot of people will take their liquid into the crease. I have. It's not necessary. Get your black. I don't always use black for a crease. I am in this case just because I'm doing a cut crease for you guys. But you're going to go from right where the arch starts in your black. Like there's that arch area right there. I'm going to go up. And I don't go up in a, like a swoosh or anything. I go up. And I go about that same pencil width away from the eyebrow. I do a high crease. I typically think they look better. Other than that, I don't know what to say. But I put the line on. You guys see it? Okay. You want to blend the line up, so you're going to do that by, again, stippling, stifling, whatever. Blend the black up, not down. And you just do that by tapping. It should pretty well almost go to the brow and connect. Almost. You don't want it to be full black, just blacked out there yet. You might end up looking at it later and be like, oh no, I want it blacked out. Well, that's fine. But for the moment, let's not. I want to put a color there and get more color than just black. And over here, in your angle, in your, you want to bring that black up. Okay. Now, I go from right where that black liner starts to go in and where it and the crease kind of meet. I just make sure that that's pushed together real good. Redip your black and fit the two together. Just go out. Don't go down like you were doing when we put it on. Just go out. And keep hitting that area until your liquid liner is blended into that crease where there's a gradient of color. Remember, anytime you smear, you're going more for a line effect or a darker spot. So if you see me smearing, it's because I'm putting that line on. But typically you want it to end up about like that. I want to go just a hair darker to meet that liquid in that black eyeshadow to blend it together just a bit better. If you notice the bottom, I'm missing a section where it runs. Happens. Do I care? No. That's about, I don't go too much darker on the eye. That's about the darkness you're going to get. Anything darker and a little dated. Go right back to the center where your black stopped, because you're going to lightly stroke that down. And I begin onto the bridge of my nose, that side. And you just want to create a shadow going from that liner, or that crease, to a side of a nose. It's just a shadow though. The darker you go, yes, the skinnier your nose you're gonna have, but it'll also have just black lines down your nose, and you don't want that. I do continue it down quite a ways. I just get lighter and lighter as I go down. So I've created a shadow. Everybody messes up and they think the contour on the nose should really be like this stripe or this. It should be a shadow. Make sure it gradients from that crease to the nose. You want to blend that until it's a gradient. Okay? That's what you're going for. Done. Other eye. I'm not going to talk. Here we go. Oh, I'm going to have to use that fast forward button a lot. I'm a talker. If you lick it, it'll be a hair darker. And they may not be perfect. You might do one higher than the other. Again, fixable. Who cares? Girls panic and won't try it. How can you fix it if you've never made the mistake? Or how can you advise another? You girls that have all these kids and you've only been doing drag for 2 years, this is what we gripe about. How can you know how to fix something if you haven't spent time doing it? Therefore, how can you instruct someone else? Sorry, it's playing a horrible song. I tend to get bitchy. And I'm out of soda. God. I should have drank liquor tonight. But there's no telling what my face would have looked like if I'd have been liquored up. Sherry, I know you're going to be watching this video. If you are, this is what I'm talking about filling in from where your eye is like over here, and there's that much room from where this makeup brush is to the nose of nothing. This is what I'm talking about connecting the two, and it'll keep you from going like You won't look Down syndrome or whatever the look is you want to call it, but your eyes will be closer together. Like I said, your eye work is not bad, but it's that distance, and this is how you correct it. Connecting it to the nose. Okay, I got this crease, like I said a while ago, could happen, but I got this one higher than the other. So I just go on it, reaffirm my crease line, stretch it out and look. That's how you really judge it. Lick or use water or whatever. To my face, I'll lick. So we can reaffirm the underneath line to be darker. But we're creating that crease again because I went the wrong height. So I just darken right there. And look at it. You don't want triangles. Most girls have been putting, I've seen girls putting those triangles. No. It's not natural, it looks weird. And this is the part where I said I'm anal retentive. And you don't have to be, and you shouldn't be, but it takes your makeup longer to do. It's fine for me. For you guys, you probably just want to hurry it up just a little. After that's done, I take a typical, like a blending brush, and I'm going to hit it onto the top of that crease, just to blend that black out. I may even go ahead and pull that to the hairline of my wing, my Alyssa Edwards wing, if I want, or faintly do it, I don't know, it's up to you. But this is buff it out. That's the goal right now. In there, buff it together, buff it out, whatever. Hit that nose line where that shadow is, buff that out, so it's not just streaky smear. Both sides. So I got the other side a bit darker there, so buffing here will help. Especially right here, but we'll fix that in a minute. I'll show you when we put color on. A lot of things are going to, I got too dark. No, you didn't. Color's going to fix it. Buff the crease. I am doing a faint wing all the way out. It's not going to be heavy because I'm probably going to cover it. We'll see. It's always something new. And I seen a girl on Facebook that posted this thing saying, "Oh, I did a bunch of different makeup styles and da 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 da." If the shapes are the same, it's not a different makeup style. When you're only changing color or thickness or the intensity, it's not a different makeup style. Different makeup is a change in shape, color, all of it. Okay? This is the effect you should get if you've done it right. And as much as I've talked and explained, if you don't have it now, it ain't for you. Hang it up. Punch it, Pearl. I typically follow, like with this smudger or like with the blender, follow my brow line a little to intensify that bottom line. Just don't carry it up into it or do it to the top at all. Just create smoke. Okay. The end of that, we're going to move into color, as most girls do. Urban Decay electric palette. I've had it for like a year and it's still very full. I would die without this stuff. I don't really remember what I did before the electric palette. So when you close your eye, if you notice there's a little creasing or breaking right there, don't panic about it. You can reapply the black now if you want. What it typically means is I should have put a little bit more on, but I thought I was being quick, even though I'm not. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. It means I should have set it a little harder with a little bit more. I got this one a lot better, as you can tell, but you can put it on now or you can wait till later. It's all typically up to you. The brush that comes with the electric palette is actually quite nice. I don't know if any of y'all hate it or what, but I love it. If it's clean, I'll use it. If it's not, just something similar. Again, you want a blending brush. You don't want this side, which works more like an angle brush, even though it's just a rounded tip. It still would work like an angle brush. Color-wise, if we're going to go typical, just an original face, I'm going to go with the orange, which is, in my palette it's right here, it kind of looks pink, but it's not. You're going to go with the orange, cover the end of your brush. I start from inside here and work my way down. Do not go all the way up into this brow bone area. Try to stay right above the crease first. And you're going to put it on with the shape that you went with. This is why shapes are important. Put it on with the shape. It's highly pigmented. I know the camera sucks and y'all can't tell, but it's very bright. I pull it all the way out with whatever wing I just put on. And then I buff it all together. And you're going to move up into the brow bone, but don't completely close it to the eyebrow. Just blend it up some so that we see a blend going on. Okay? Then you're going to take it and pull it outside of the eyebrow and outside of the black that we had on up there. Because this orange is what's going to blend that into the skin and not just look like a black line. Follow the black that went down your nose with the orange. I typically go a bit further with it now and take it to the end. Just follow it straight down. Okay? And about the thickness of the brush. That's about how thick the line should be. Okay? Once it's on, in case Veronica Versace watches this, I know right now this looks like that wedge you had on the inside of brown and we all was reading for Phil. It won't look like that afterwards. But you want it there for the blend right now. Same thing with the other side. Right here, where crease and brow start separating, you want to bring under the brow with the orange pretty decent. And you may end up with sort of a, I don't know, like a sideways Y of color, where it goes down the shape, meets, and then comes up the brow. That's fine, you should, as long as it's blended. But I follow that brow, follow that underneath of my eyebrow. Blend it up, don't close it, still open, but blend it all together. And then the same with this inside here.
Can't take one more step towards you.
And don't worry, you're not just gonna look like, you know, Ziggy Stardust the whole time. Put a little bit on the brush. You don't want it as dark. You don't want to ream it around in the color. And you're gonna go underneath your bottom liner and bring that out to meet the orange of the wing. But you want to buff this very good to where it's almost like it fades off of that black. This is how we create the under eye smoke here. Do not go on top right here, but underneath, and you go up to the point. Sometimes I'll close off the point in the nose. Sometimes. For this, I'm not. Okay? The Adele channel plays a lot of Christina Perry. It's kind of bringing me down. I'll try to edit this out in the video, but I'm switching my iHeart real quick. Sorry, guys. Let's hope this is better. Just top 40.
The weather, what did you think? No. I want to be left alone. I'll put headphones on, and even if they're not
It's a top rating.
right, you can plainly see that it's just a dangling cord. I'm gonna start wearing them around the house. Maybe if you left alone. Elvis Duran, the Elvis Duran phone tap. Danielle.
Yes.
What do you have?
All right, comes from Nicole. She's
No, not listening to that. So we're gonna go to just 90s to now. It's a mix
It was
channel.
fantastic. She tweeted about it. You can actually see the video.
I hate radio.
Keyword Valentine.
I do right under here though, pretty intense, and just buff it out. You want to see the color a little bit later, so be intense. Don't be afraid of it. After your color, you should be about right here. Okay. Your midnight clown white. Get a brush that has a skinnier tail. Paintbrushes are great for this. I actually use a lot of paintbrushes on the face, so but with a skinnier tail, and roll it into your clown white. Easiest way. Then you're going to apply it to the white between the crease and the liquid liner lid. Do not completely pull it out. You're going to blend it out a bit in a minute because you'll get it too smeared onto other makeup. Here's where most people and I disagree. You want to, I come down that bottom of that nose just a bit to reaffirm that line. A lot of people are like, you don't bring the white down the nose, oh my god. Finger, only time I use it. Here we go. And I dab, tap. That's how I blend this. Because I want that original line, but I want it to blend out. And your finger you have more control over than a brush typically, so if it gets on your black liquid lid, do not panic, do not worry about that. That's always fixable with just more black liquid. Or even eyeshadow, if you would rather. I just like my black, so. Okay, it should be tapped out, it should be good. You can take the same brush if it's something not huge. Get your highlighting powder, whatever you're using, and apply it right on there. And there's no stopping this from getting onto the black eyelid. Alright, as you're doing this, you're going to follow straight down underneath that nose. I'll show you more on this side because it'll be easier for y'all to see, but you're going to go straight down where you were putting that clown white on, or that super white, whatever clown white. Straight down it with this. And you're going to let it sit and cook. A lot of people are like, well, you just took out all of that work that you've done, like, with your contour. No, I do Michael Jackson skinny noses.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. All right, well, for the first
It should look similar to that.
I ironed my own shirt,
Okay.
you know? And my wife's like, what? You've never done that before?
Just make sure that this is not tacky anymore. You've got enough powder on it that there's no tack to it. It's set. Because the one thing I will say is the minute you open your eye with this stuff, it'll be too much correction that you have to do. get a buffing brush
Steam or
and
something,
buff
there
off
was nobody around to do
where
it.
the white
Until
got
I
onto
realized, so I'm
spots
like,
you didn't want
I
it
guess I
to.
gotta
Just buff
get
it off.
this piece of metal.
But you should do it quickly because the longer it sits there,
Listen,
um,
so when you were young,
this is,
you know, lived with your mom, so she would do it. To older
of
sisters. Okay, so
course,
they would hire
highlighting powder, so it's gonna sit
yeah,
in
but
better.
I worked in radio, Kev, so anytime
Okay,
I didn't really wear dress shirts that much.
I want to
Anytime
put
I
some
took
back
to
on
dry
that
cleaners,
nose so
or
that it can
the police
cook
department, all the uniforms just went
before
to
I
the dry
move on.
cleaners. We had a deal with the local dry cleaner, so they pressed all
I
our police
erased the
uniforms,
sides
so
of
I
my
didn't need it for
nose,
that either.
basically.
Yes, I see how it could happen. I see how you can make
I
it.
take the same, the white powder while you're doing this,
Very rare.
and I
I'm a
go
rare breed, Jim. I'm a
thick
rare breed. I'm a
here,
caveman.
in this area, and bring it out to kind of a wing.
So how'd you do?
So I get it
Yeah.
as right as I can, and then follow right over that orange that we put underneath. So it's right under that black liquid liner until you get to about right there. That's where I stop it. You can blend it down a bit, like right on the line.
I did my tie myself. That's not a good idea.
Circular sweeping motions.
Because maybe at a very low heat. I've never done that. It wasn't low heat, but I learned something from a friend of mine that was in the Air Force. I was at this wedding. Because you can do that. You should do that. You should iron the tie because they get wrinkled. But you flip them over.
But that right there is going to help a lot. And you're going to go back to your little skinny thing, re-dip, circular, I like spin it in there, and you're going to go into underneath your brow bone, or your arch. That's where it's going to be the thickest, so you're going to thicken through there. So come down, smearing, follow the tail underneath it. If it goes up on it, don't worry, you can always draw the eyebrow back. That's where I love makeup. Always a solution. Okay, but I typically, I say typically a lot, I do about right to there, and then I go back with that finger. It's the one area I like to blend with the finger. Weird, I know. And you're going to kind of pull down on all of that white, that clown white. And you're going to bring it in on top of some of that orange right under the brow. Don't go onto the brow. If you do, it's fine, but try not to. But you're going to pull it in quite a ways. Lighten that back up. You're like, well, you just defeated a lot of the color you put on. You took a lot of that color away. No. I'm blending the color into the white. This is how you get that blend. Everybody always raves and says they like my blend. This is why. You should see a difference in the two eyes. Okay. So you've got that much done. Get that buffer. Get back in your highlighting powder. Brightest right here, right at the arch. Follow down. Both ways. You're going to get a lot of fallout from this that's going to fall onto the color, and you're going to think I just erased everything. No, you didn't. Blow off if there's excess, and buff. If it's not wide enough for you, do more. We'll say right under the brow though, needs to be white. This is what gives a lot of the bigger name drag queens or big title holders, stuff like that. This is what they have an edge to that a lot of girls don't do, is really highlight this. It pulls that eye, snatches it. Okay, you just done that. A lot of people work in unison. Now they go over and do this. Once I get to this point, I finish up. Whatever orange is left on your brush, kind of like just rake it off, like on a towel. Just not perfect. It don't all have to be out, just the majority of it. And now I get a pink. So I have the orange as a base, and now I get my pink, and they have a hot pink. Don't swirl it too much, just get enough on the brush. And you're gonna follow where you had the orange to apply color.
And on the go.
And everybody's like, why didn't you use pink first? The orange provides a very good base for pink. But I just want to create a blend with this pink. Okay. And then one more time with your highlight, just to blend the two together. Not as much highlight this time. Don't just like swoop it around in there and get it all covered. You want a little. For it to be a faint. And you just want to stay under the brow because you're going to get a lot of fallout from it. And the fallout's enough to do the rest. Blow it off. And bring it down to the pink. And meet the pink. You want to meet the two. Don't go on the pink, but meet where the pink and the white would meet. Okay? Get your pink again. And just if you need to make any corrections or darken up a spot, do that real quick. I always keep this darker on the inside and let it fade out gradient because the eyes, it pulls them in, pulls the focus and highlights out here. So it looks like you're more severe. So after you look at it and you're happy with the way the color blends, move along. Other eye. You're going to repeat everything. I'm going to fly through this one. There'll be points in the video I'll probably fast forward. This will probably be one of them. So if I'm talking, it's probably not important.
Sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Proving my right song.
I will say that part of the blending it down with the finger is also to smooth it out so it's not so chunky. Make it a little more pliable.
It's Valentine in the morning. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate that. I really do. If we don't say it enough, honestly, thank you for taking the time out to listen to this show. Waiting, I'll have to leave soon. Why am I holding on? We knew this day would come. We knew it all along. How did it come so fast? This is our last night, but it's late, and I'm trying not to sleep, 'cause I know when I wake, I will have to slip away.
Buffer.
And when the day comes, but tonight I'm gonna hold you so long, 'cause if the day will be alone, tonight I'll hold you so close.
Remember where I said take the light down the nose? Let it cook for a minute. I don't always do this to where the white comes out to a point. Sometimes I continue my black lid up so the white would have been cut off a lot sooner. It just depends how I'm feeling, or I look at it and it looks right or it doesn't look right. That's all it depends on. Typically I have somebody blowing, but you know. Forgot. If you have a mistake in the brow, this is a good time to correct it. Like if you remember earlier where I said that was smudged right here, this is where that'll get corrected. The white will just cover it up like foundation. Instead of worrying about it or panicking or trying to get it perfect, there's always the next process usually will cover it. So, or if one eyebrow's thicker than the other, or you've got a line that's off, this is a good time for that. Just saying. It may not always be perfect, but again, you don't care. Okay. You want to get it to about that level. Anywhere that it stops, you just really want to make sure that's blended out or blended into the color. You don't want too much of a line or it get real liney looking. I don't like that. Okay. So back to my buffer brush. Right in that center. You'll notice I hit it hard. You'll also notice right there it got up on the brow. Oh well. I'm screwed. No, life is over.
Comment was funny because my husband, a couple weeks ago, when he took iron his shirt, 20 years old, has not ironed his shirt.
Okay, color.
It was funny, but then I remembered that I said, I teach you how to iron, but you have to teach me how to sew. Because I can't sew and he can.
So wait, the guy knows how to sew, but he doesn't know how to iron a shirt.
Right. And I know
Weird skill to get.
shirt, but I don't know how to sew.
Yeah, I do all the ironing and sewing in our household. That's a true story.
Yeah, I can't sew, and it's great because I was like, we were in Vegas for a wedding a couple weeks ago, and my dress had a change here. No, she just pulled out like the hotel sewing kit and sewed it up for me, but I ironed it, so it's perfect.
That's good. Kevin just said he does all that stuff in his house as well.
That's awesome. Well, you're going to need that when you have the baby, so.
Yeah. Actually, I have to be honest. We had a baby, and our kid's now 7 3/4. I never had to iron or sew for my child. So sure, how much you gonna need that?
It's because your wife's amazing.
I really like the color to follow that brow more.
I got the best one for me.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say the best one ever, but I don't want to disparage the sensitive.
Last time.
There's never a busy signal at Facebook.com/Valentine in the morning.
Hey, music lover. The only thing better than listening to your favorite music is seeing your favorite music too. So check out Honda Stage. It's a huge new movement in live music, and it features exclusive performances, behind-the-scenes content, ticket sweepstakes.
You got one side brighter than the other, just quickly fades.
Greatest stars in music. You can see it all at the Honda Stage YouTube channel, and new artists, videos, and photos are constantly being added. So
I'm not happy with right here, so I'm gonna buff that out. Maybe just a hair more of the white powder, because I brought my color out further on this side, so I want to minimize it to look more like the other.
A meal for breakfast, not some muffin. What you need is the breakfast crunch wrap from Taco Bell, scrambled eggs, bacon, melted
I
cheddar
got you.
cheese, and a whole crispy.
So you just created that silhouette there between the two eyes.
Soft, chewy, and then they'll grill it all in a flour tortilla.
Make sure your shapes are even. A little off. This one's just a hair higher, but
When you want a real breakfast, where you've got a
okay. And back to
You need help
right
with
here.
New Year's resolutions. I
Unfortunately, we can't do your ab crunches. That one's on you. But if you want to feel more confident about your finances this year, there's one simple thing you can do. Check your credit. Most people don't know their credit score.
You may actually want to go ahead, just if you're wanting precise linear lines, to follow that wing out and blend it down. That's all up to you, what you're looking for, trying to achieve. Because sometimes it'll look a little unfinished if you don't. I don't really do this makeup a whole lot anymore. Every once in a while, if I'm, because it's my go-to easy. So we just got to where everybody and their brother was doing it, and I got burned out of seeing my own face on everything. Okay, the black liquid liner, just so I can fix anywhere that has gotten too beat down with white. Retouch it with the black real quick. It's basically anywhere at your fine lines where you're trying to show something, you don't want it to look blended. You want to have an obvious line, so make sure you retouch. Some girls don't. I always think they look powder heavy. This was also the time where it comes where I decide if I want to shorten the highlight right there instead of going out on top of the black, but I'm going to leave it for now. So just reaffirm the black. Do not open your eye too much. Keep them squinted until you set it. Or you're asking for more work. Sometimes at this point I'll go in and thicken if I think it needs to be the liner needs to be thicker or whatever. This is the final decision moment, like when you're at this point on eyes, because we're almost done with them. Make sure everything's rounded out and smooth. Or you're going to find yourself coming back after you're done with your face. And if you're like me, once I get to the point, I'm ready to be done. Okay, reaffirm the black. That's basically what this is about. I'm a closed eye performer, meaning I tend to squint a lot or give you the. So for me, perfect shapes. This one can be a bit thicker or whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. You'll notice this time I used a fluffier brush for the black, just because it needs to blend itself out now. And I'll also touch a little bit of that crease with this thicker brush, because I took a lot of it away with that color. So I'll put a little bit of it back, not all of it. But I'll thicken that crease up just a hair. And it should automatically do its own blend. After all this is done and you're using a thicker brush for it, it should blend itself almost. You just kind of put it on. And if you guys have been painting for any time at all, you know the harder you push or the lighter, it all has a different effect. When I'm doing this, I'm touching very lightly, feather kinda. Because the darker the harder you push, the darker it's gonna be. It's also a good time to hit your eyelashes so that they don't have white powder all over them, because that's very noticeable. It's something I'll clock pageant wise. If your eyelashes are coated with white powder and they're supposed to be black. I don't like too much of a point on me. I like it to come to a bit of a point, but I don't like it to point out because I don't have tons of nose room. Fat problems. And don't forget, you're always going to like one eye better than the other, so don't beat yourself up about it. Shockingly, the one I'm on right now is the one I like the best. It's usually vice versa. That's because I'm trying to turn this one to show you guys. This will also fix problems if one crease is higher than the other, or blah blah blah. That's what all this is for. And this one technically has a bit more of a point to it than the other side, but when you're up there and the lashes are on, nobody's in now. Happy with it. There you go. The eye work inside that I do is pretty well done at that point. There's other things you can do. You'll see at the end I put one more thing on the eyes after lashes, but okay, brows, and then we'll move on. Contour doesn't take me any time because I did all that pre-contour. So we've got brows, lips, contour, and then finish. So we're really close. We're at 2 hours. Typically I like 3, so we'll probably be done before that. Alright, with the brow, whatever color was on the brush that you used in your color, you're going to keep it, because you're going to right now fill in the hollow point of the brow with what's left on the brush. You don't want it too intense. You could also instead use a nude, like a MAC Harmony or something like that. Notice it dripping again. But I like to use the color because it blends into that color wedge that I put on the inside of the nose, right there. And I blend it together inside that eyebrow. That's it. Okay, after you filled it in, which I did, smaller brush, so the other end of that one I'm going to use, it's a rounded tip, but it's flat. I'm going to get my black, because I'm ombre in the brows, and I'm going to go to my tail, and lightly hit that tail, try to keep it fine point though, and follow the bottom line of the eyeliner you put on, or of the eyebrow you put on. You want to follow that bottom till you get right about to the center and fade it past the center. And then you do the same with the top, but not on the inside. So now I'm going to follow the top up, fade it out. However dark you want to go is up to you. A lot of people, it depends on their hair color. For me, I hate when people match their brows too close to their hair color, unless you're doing something crazy like a fire engine red and you do fire engine red hair and brow, that's cool. But when you're a blonde, it doesn't have to have an orange eyebrow. It just needs to be a lighter version of a brown. A brunette can have a black eyebrow, it doesn't matter. If you're going for a fishier effect, I would suggest ombre. I don't care what colors you put in it, but ombre will go fishy, or a light brown. You want to fill in just to that temple, just to the right of that temple bone or the arch, right where it hits its highest point. But smear it around because you want to blend that together to where it just comes out just a little. Okay? So there's the black tail on the outside. My camera you can't tell too much, but in my mirror you can. Bottom first. And that's because when you go to put the top on, or follow that top line, the top line's going to have fallout. If you've already applied to the bottom, the chances are higher that it's just going to stick to it, not fall into that pretty white you just put on. Now you want to sort of compare the two and make sure that you see a fade in color. I like the fade better over here, but this one's actually a bit more correct. Okay, there it is. Clean it up a little right here. There we go. Alright. Now, second part, I put the color in there and I've already got the brown pencil line, so you don't really have to do like a second color unless you just want to, like move to gold or something, then that's cool. Now would be the time to switch a color and go to a lighter, like a gold in the middle. However, I use the color from my eye. I think it creates a good blend. But I get my foundation and the sponge, and you just want to dab it in it. You don't want tons. And I go over the top line that I put on and the inside where the filler, some of that filler is. You want to move inside the nose a bit onto that orange that I brought out. Now, a lot of people are like, boy, why'd you put all that on if you're just going to cover it up? What it done was created a shadow of that color, of that texture, to where it'll still hint through the makeup, but not overpower. But find your correct shape there. For me, it's about right there. Okay, both sides. And when you've got it there, double check, make sure they're even, close to even at least. That's good for me. And if you use a sponge, you don't have to use anything else. If you're going to use your finger, whatever. A lot of people would tell you to put on your normal foundation color on top of this. I'm going to use my highlight, because if you remember, all that area is supposed to be highlighted anyway. So I'm going to put it on right over the brow, what I just done. Both sides, pretty thick. I put a stripe. Bring it to the center point of your nose. Leave it there. And arc it back up, because you need to retouch that anyways now. So arc that up. But make sure it's got a good coverage. And you want to come up a little bit above your eyebrow. A lot of people have seen Roxy Andrews puts the white above the brow to give you that pop. It's kind of the same effect, but not as intense as hers. So on that top, you just want to kind of run that along it lightly, blend it out. It's going to give you the same effect, but I don't like it as intense as she does. Alright, if you remember, this was the catcher of the fallout. I'm just going to buff with it, as long as there's not black on it. Now, if you didn't sweep the black off correctly when you used this earlier, you might want to use a different brush. Anywhere that just fell, I'm buffing until the eyebrows follow that arc, rainbow, whatever, until it just looks smooth. There's a little chunkiness in there, but I mean, I'm about to touch it one last time, so it doesn't bother me. My good painting dress. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm going to use something very cheap, but I like to refill the brow with bronzer, typically a compacted bronzer, just a shade darker. Doesn't matter what brush you're using as long as it's thicker, like a blending brush. And you're going to follow the eyebrow that you just took off and buff it back into place, just not as prominent. You just want to end up with that buff there and make that eye color that's right underneath it. You could have also used a lighter pencil, a nude, or you could have really used almost anything depending on how you wanted it to look in there. I just want to make sure all of that's connected evenly. Your concern is more about the effect there, not necessarily having an eyebrow on because you just took it off. So just make sure the effect is blended through. This would also be the point where if I was going to do a glitter brow, sometimes I go ahead and put my eyebrows on and then I'm like, so I'll go ahead and stick the glitter brow on. This would be the point where I would decide to do that if I didn't like it or whatever, but I'm cool, we're moving along. Highlighting powder again. Right back in the center. A little bit onto what you just put on, just don't erase it this time. To re-highlight it and separate. And bring it down that nose bone. You can cook it if you want, or you don't have to. I'm just going to go ahead for time's sake and move it along. And I hit the inside of everything there. Just a smidge. There's the effect. At this point, I'm going to take just a hair, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, of the clown white and hit my nose, the end. I was a little worried about it earlier that I didn't get enough on there when it was in the beginning. But I'm going to do my tip. Then I'm going to continue that tip out to the sides. And then I'm going to make it a triangle that meets into the middle, onto that nose bone. So you almost want to go Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, the Scarecrow, and create a tipped triangle. And while I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more in my Cupid's bow because I want that to be a little bit wider. I can tell now that it's not as white. Okay. Blend it out a little bit. Now you don't want to use too much clown white once you've already powdered because you'll end up with a chunky and breaky, but a little bit will be fine, especially on these areas. I'm going to continue this up the nose because I'm not doing a button, but I am going to do a shaped at the end. And I'm going to continue it down towards my nostril and blend it out on the sides. And you're going to go up onto that shadow a little bit that you put on there. Okay? Until it's you've gotten it blended out to where it's no longer scarecrow and more just you put highlight on. You can rub at this point, smoothing it, it'll be fine. Okay, I've created a wider end to my nose, and I'm going to show you why. I like to erase the end of my nose, make it go away. I don't like it existent. So now when I put this on, the highlight on around my nostrils and the tip of my nose, and then I'm going to follow that up a bit and go onto that shadow, or the color and the black that I put down the sides of my nose. I'm going to go up on that a little bit, both sides. And what it's going to do is turn that into even more of a shadow and erase the tip of my nose to where it's just kind of gone. Buff it off. Don't let that cook too long. Remember, the longer it cooks, the whiter it's going to be. And you don't want that to be too but that's what I did there. I just wanted to erase the tip of my nose. And if you have a prominent nose, I actually have a little round button nose, so a lot of times I'll do like a button or a Miss Piggy nose, whatever. But if you have a prominent nose that sticks out, or one that has the hump in it, or any of that, this is perfect to kind of erase the nose effect. The thing is, don't let your lines completely disappear, because otherwise you'll end up with the truffle pig. And we all know truffle pigs. Thank you, Matthew. Okay. Before you put that electric palette away, because I almost just did, get your orange and your pink. Go between the two. That orange and pink that you used in your eye. Coat like a thick brush. And over here where you pulled that wing out, I'm going to continue up along the eyebrow till I get to about the arch. And up into the recede. This is how you blend the eye work into your contour that you're about to do. But I get my temple bone, because right again where that eyebrow starts to crease should be like the bone line. And I go to there and blend it over it and hit your hairline. Good. Up onto the hair. This is why we put foundation on it a while ago, so that that'll all go into it, stick better. You'll have to reapply the orange and pink for the next side, because you're probably out on your brush. Sometimes I'll pull it in a little bit more, but that's because I have a wide forehead. I don't have much room on it, but I have a wide one. So sometimes I'll pull it in more, and that'll cause the look to go. Hairline. You're always, every time you do your hairline, you're never going to think it's perfect. You're always going to think it's the way that I cut my hair and stuff, I purposefully leave baby hairs here. Sometimes I incorporate that, or so that way I think it gives more of a younger effect to have baby hairs. But you want to bring that in. That's going to create the blend for your contour in a minute. Just make sure everything's pretty even. It should have eliminated the line wing, and now instead you have more of a, and excuse me for the word, a lot of people are going to read me about this, but we always called it a tranny line. Opt for another word, but yeah. So you should have more of that indented line now instead of just a wing from your eye. I make sure that that's kind of prominent. A lot of people will continue this all the way around. I will too, but for the moment, we're here.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to go over everything.
Trying to give y'all some Alyssa.
They say the time's supposed to heal.
Alright, so that should be the basis of that forehead contour. That should be the blend that's going to happen in a minute. While you've got that pink still on it, you might hit underneath your nose just to pull that in a bit. And sometimes you can reaffirm that shadow on the side, and it won't be as harsh because you just touched it with like a pinkish effect. And right under that eyework, just to make that prominent again. And what it does is it just makes it look like you know how to blend. Smokes it out. Okay, I'm going to be having a cigarette, then we're going to move into contouring lips. This will not take any time, so we're really close. And then I'll apply lashes and do final touches for finishing. We're almost done though, guys. I'll fast forward through my cigarette break in a minute, so I'll be right back. Well, as long as there's not smoke in front of the camera, I've decided to go ahead and smoke while I do this because I'm kind of overpainting. I have moved into more of a natural set cheek. Like, I don't want to go horribly darker than this, but just a little bit. So I'm gonna get the brush that I like for cheek. There's two. There's three. I'm that girl. A lot of people like to use an angle brush. They think it makes it easier on their cheek. If that's what you like, then use it. It's not what I like. You see the runny cracking? I'm that girl. First brush I'm going to start with is an actual paintbrush, but it's a flat tip. It's a very stiff, hard brush. If you're going to create a line, this is the best brush to use, is right here. And I'm going to have a hair of a line, but not much. So I'm going to use it for a second. Another alternative to this is the fan brush. I used to use the fan brush, but it's almost impossible to find one that I think is stiff enough. So I switched to this, and now I like it better. So the color that I'm using, forgive the cigarette, is a mixture of, it's in a eauty container, again I mix in those, but it is a mixture of Chestnut by Ben Nye and Texas Dirt, which I believe is Mayron, I'm not sure. Ben Nye has a version of it called Plains Dust, but I mix the two together because Texas Dirt is so pigmented and strong and dark that you can mess a face up quick, that it's not really repairable. So I mix the two, less of the Texas Dirt or Plains Dust and more of the Chestnut. For my skin tone, the yellowed and red mix is really good. So I'm going to look at what I created over here with my pre-contour, and I'm going to go right to above the ear, and I'm going to bring down a line right at the bottom of the stuff, of what I created with the pre-contour. It's going to be kind of harsh, and I use the brush flat to where it doesn't go up on everything yet. Now after I've put that line there, I'm going to brush with it up and pull the product up. And I'm going to go ahead and continue that across that line I made and the hairline, which is going to blend my hair to it and kind of cut my cheek off, but I'm a heavy-set person and I have a wider face, so I want to create more shadow in there. Do you have to use these brushes? No. I've left this at home before, this or that, and used another. This is just, for me, the most precise way, but I'm blending that together right in there. You may actually see a little bit of a line. Don't panic, because the next brush is going to be a thicker blending like powder brush or blush brush. Make sure there's nothing in it. Tojins, I do it every time. This time I had highlight. But punch where you created, where I had that line, I'm going to hit over that real quick. And then I'm going to move down there onto the dark, because I really don't want this light. And blend it all together. You want seamless, that's what you're going for, not lines. You're going to see a bit of a line where the highlight meets, that'll fix in a minute. But for now, everything that you just put on there, you're pulling it down. Do not meet the corner of your mouth. Even though the line was headed that direction, your cheek will take on its own natural shape and just barely dust it onto that natural shape. But blend, blend, blend. And now we're going to pull it up. And I go hairline, or receding hairline, or whatever area you want to call that in case you're just packed full of hair. I still want you to go up in it. If you notice, I went past my hair up into the darkest, thickest spots. But I'm hitting the hairline, that's the goal here. I want to make it look like my head goes from forehead to hair with no line in between. It should all go together seamlessly. So that's why it's going on to my hair. Normally you're going to have a friend there that's going to do all your blowing for you. Or you can have a blow dryer. I'll deal with it. My husband's in bed and the roommate's in bed, so you just deal. Okay. Got that side, you went all the way up there, get that brush, that blush brush again, and blend, blend, blend. Okay, that's it. Now you're moving to the other side. Always cheek, then go up. I don't go full around because then your shape sometimes is off. So I try to stick with the regimen.
It is Valentine's morning. The battle of the sexes coming up next, guys versus girls. Who's going to win the battle of the sexes?
However dark you want it, it's completely up to you. It's up to the look that you're going for. I typically lately have been going a very orange to pink with a tan effect. So you won't see me go as dark as some. Not today. I can. I just don't always want to. And I'm in a stage right now where I'm really enjoying more of a continental makeup, which I did not do tonight. I know this is not soft. But typically what I've been liking lately is a softer look. This is not going to be that. You're going to notice that there's some smeariness, there's some muddiness, especially like right in this area of your cheek. You're going to fix that in a minute. Don't panic. Get back up in that hair. Blend that line in. Bring it out. Don't be gentle, or it's pointless. You need to not think gentle and think more of you're beating your mug right now. If the brush is stiff like it should be, it won't be hard. Sorry if everybody can hear that. The cat just screwed something up, so my roommate is like losing her mind in her bedroom. So forgive her. Mia, you were in the video if they heard it.
Yeah. You started by speaking, you fucking level fucking something. Go.
There's gonna be a dead cat. Okay. So make sure that's fully realized. You've got your shape, you've got the blend you want. Now you're going to grab a little bit on your actual blush brush, and you're going to hit that double chin area and work a little bit up the jawline. Don't go crazy and connect the two. Sometimes I'll connect them back here at the ear. That's totally up to you. Depends on what you're doing. I don't like it for the softer look at all. If you're going to go for more painted and heavy or severe pageant, then yeah. Me and my drag mother at one point, and then right here I'm noticing that it's not taking as well, so you see me hit it a little bit more. But if you do one side, you must do the other. But I want to buff it out. Not just leave it chunky.
During the 7-10 battle of sexes, they are coming into work.
But me and my drag mother noticed we had stopped the frame on Drag Race. Roxy was on, and she literally has a brown stripe that, while she was chunky at least, that used to connect from behind her ear to behind her ear. And when you stop the frames, you'll notice it is a non-blended brown stripe. But on stage and camera, it looks sick. But with you in person, they'll probably notice it. In a video, you probably won't. So I would suggest maybe not doing it so heavy, or at least blending it out if you're going to attempt it. Both sides of the chin, like normal. Okay. Now, with all that done, you should have your tan sucked into right here look. You're going to add some pink, but Ben Nye makes misty pink. It's good, a little too pigmented for what I like. There's several that will work. I keep my MAC Harmony out too because it's more of a nude, and sometimes I like to go right between those colors with that just to make sure that the color blend is correct and that it's not too just bam, there's brown. Because for some reason, Harmony will go on anything easily. And I've yet to see a face type that it didn't work on. I've seen girls that are like porcelain white that use Harmony and it works for deeper contour, and I've seen girls that are dark use it and it works almost just as a blend. Okay, so I did that. This is, everybody's gonna think crap. We get it at a local, like, the store's called Fred's, but it's almost like a dollar type store, or some stuff is like $5. But it's called eauty Cosmetics, I-O-N-I Cosmetics. It's very cheap, but the pigment in it is so pretty. See the pink? I typically break it up. I like stuff broke up. And this was the other cheek brush I was talking about, an even smaller blush brush. And you're not going to use tons of this pink. You probably, if you break it up like I do, will have enough in the lid from the dust or whatever. But you want to hit where you go from highlight to color. So that's really what we're aiming for. And the apple of that cheek, touch her. And pull it back. You can still go on the other and pull it back. But what this is going to do is warm up all of that contour especially if you're a heavier set person or just typically have a redness to your skin. But yeah, right there, get in that apple a little bit, because you want the apple to look like you're blushing or perma embarrassed. Sometimes I do the pink more intense, especially if I do like a pink brow or any sort of a color brow. I'll intensify this pink to go with it. Okay, and then that jawline where it meets the normal face color. And in that crease of the chin, you don't really need to take it down your neck. So I would probably not do that, it'd just be a waste. I don't understand the point of it. You want the neck dark. Well, the double chin spot to be, so the first half of the neck, you want that to be dark. And anybody will notice if I do put something on double chin, I have the ugliest face for it because I'll do this and then you might want to come up just a little onto that highlight with the pink, just to provide some rosiness to it and blend. Okay, but that's it. I'm done with the pink. I'm going to touch everything up with highlight. And then we're going to move on to the next step, and lips are easy. I fly through them because I have to. So that heavy spot right there that we used to do, that we did when we were on eyes, you want to hit it heavily with your highlight. Same with the other, don't pull it out, just right there, heavy. I go back on my nostril area. Once again. But like I say, I'm the kind that once the makeup's done, I don't want to sit and have to reapply all night long as I start sweating, so I pack the makeup on and let it fade itself. So you should almost have a central nudeness, or you're going to feel like the center of your face, the T-zone in particular, is very translucent. I don't use a translucent setting powder. I hate it. I think it's pointless. Give me stuff that has color in it. I'm weird. No. But this should be the effect. Okay? Blow that brush off. And pull that out. And down onto that pink. This is the blend. If you're doing it right, you should not see a bunch of lines. And you should be touching soft and in a circular round movements. Every face type is different. I'm fully aware that something that I do may not work for you, but as long as you're sticking closely to this routine, if you're trying to give yourself a quick pageant face or a face to start off with and learn to add your own technique to it, this is the face you want because it's the most easily susceptible. You've learned some technique, but it can be molded into something else. When you're happy with your highlight, and it's just, about that spot where it's not, you didn't white everything out, but you're drawing attention to the correct places, you can stop. But I do this process, and even go up on that just to shadow out my nose contour a little bit more and create more of like a bone there instead of makeup. But I do this process until I'm happy with it. And it's a blend. I'm looking for a blend, not a big white area, or I'm just wanting to see that things gradiate. Okay. The one thing I will say is after you powder, I keep getting tongue-tied, I'm sorry. It might be necessary to retouch the black on your eyebrow, up to you. Depends on the hair color I have. Sometimes I like it faded down to where they're more nude. Sometimes I go in like this and just do a little retouch on the black. Just for the tail. I will say the more times that you go back and retouch stuff, the stronger your makeup's going to sit throughout the night. It's going to have more layers to it, so if you start moving away a layer, you're instantly going to see that there's a layer under it that kind of helps fill it in, so it's not so big of a deal. I just re-intensify just a little to get that shade. The top half of my brows are still kind of gone. There's another way to ombre an eyebrow, but for my face shape, this is the way that I've found that I love. Alright. We're also at a spot to where, while we were highlighting, if you want to cut the cheek, you can. I have stopped with cheek cutting. I'll do it once in a while when I want to feel intense, but for the most part I don't. If you do want to cut it, get your triangle sponge that you applied foundation with. Dip the tip of it in your highlight powder, and you would follow right underneath the cheek. Also, if you went too low with the cheek, this is the time to lift it, because if I do my triangle sponges just like a beauty blender and get them wet. And if they're wet and you've got this powder and you put it on, it's going to set it more. So it's going to just, if you've gotten your cheek too low and you adjust with this, it's probably on there. And you're not going to have to worry too much about cheek height or placement. But make sure, no matter what you do, you've got a little bit of a line. That's all I'm going to do for now. I'm used to, I would have lined that, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and brush some of it off, just to give a little definition at the back. And if you didn't feel like underneath your eye was as bright as you wanted, that's another time to kind of smash that in to right underneath. Don't go too out, don't go too far down, because you're going to have fallout, which is where the powder falls down, and then you'll just have too much. Up here lately, and I don't know what it is, but has been where I just want brighter and brighter and cannot get it there. You'll go through those points with makeup. Okay. Buff that to where it's not just powder sitting on your face. Okay. You got your brightness. Alright, lips. There's two ways to do lips. No matter what you do, even if it's going to be a solid like red lip, you still want to line it, and your red should be a shade darker than the red that you put on. Always go a shade darker. If you're going to use a color, I'm not a big fan of black lined lips unless I'm going to do a black lip, but I'll do them from time to time. For now, I'm going to give you a red lip with a gradient to show you my process. The gradient is really helpful for people who don't have sill or have any lip alter. It helps to increase the size. I have a very large Cupid's bow. Thank you, Jesus. I love it. So for me, I just barely go above my lip line, but barely. And I start with the Cupid's bow and I make my V, a V. Up. V. Okay. I go down to the top of the corner, just the top lip. A lot of people paint on a frown, and that's a mistake. And that means that you pulled that down too far, or you came out to too much of a point. Stop where your top lip stops, right before the crease in your lip. Both sides. Where you had a V should have a rounded effect now. Okay. Smile, and when you smile, you'll see which side's which. This side has more of an arch than this side, so I need to correct. Lips are the one area that I will tell you need to try to get spot on because it will affect your lip sync. So now that you have your nice mustache, yes, bottom lip, start in the middle, and you're going to start with a little underline, almost like a little bowl or saucer.
Oh, thank you, Beverly.
And to congratulate Kevin and Allie on their baby.
Thank you, Beverly.
And I love the show. You guys just make my day every single day. So.
And if you notice, I go back and forth, and I just keep rocking it. I want it to look smooth. So it should look like that. You haven't connected. Now when you're going to connect, and it needs to be, the line needs to be as thick as the difference in the color of your lip and your actual lip line. If you notice, there should be a little ridge there going around your mouth. It needs to fill in that ridge.
Confident young lady, I've watched her grow from just a little girl, basically.
And you're going to bring that up to meet the other line.
I watched her grow into this beautiful, intelligent woman we have on the show every single day. So she's a huge, huge part of my life.
Until it's a tiny point.
Well, Kevin came into her life a few years ago.
Okay.
It's funny, Kevin was like,
Other side.
marriage, babies. And then I affected him. And somehow now we find this very, I know it's contagious, this very witty, very sarcastic, very funny, handsome young man over here.
Thank you very much for
Okay,
all of that.
and at the top.
When I first met you guys, I had just started dating Allie. And I think she infected me too, you know what I mean? I kind of fell in love with her.
Make sure your actual lip line has been covered. That's what the line is for, so you don't see that when the lip sticks on.
And I said to Brian the other day,
Okay, other side, just filling in just a
to be the
bit.
best producer this show has ever had. We were really pleased with his work ethic and everything he's done. He came from the Ryan Seacrest show.
It's been great.
And he has the potential to be the best producer we've ever had. Then he immediately screwed up like 3 things.
Top is filled in, now bottom.
Big thing.
Then there's Jim from the back of the room, Jimmy.
I'm coming up onto the lip just a little bit more, almost like when I was doing the crease, I came up with the black.
And he's a trooper, and he's a Vietnam vet, and he's just a great guy to have around.
Too many years to count, right?
Yeah, we can't. There are too many.
Too many.
Sabrina's in the other room. She's our customer service rep. You'll hear her when you call into the phone lines. So my point is, we're all a
Now,
very big family that works
when
well
you get
together.
into the
Thank you
corners,
for being part
you
of
want to
our thing.
thicken
If
that
you're a first-time caller, new to
in the
show,
corner.
reach out to say hi. We're here for you. A few friends, a few microphones, and we're welcoming you as well.
This is Valentine in the morning. Okay, here's another long sweep of music and absolutely no commercials to get in the way.
This is today's mix.
I love this color. It's sort of a wine red. It is Jordana. You can probably get it at Walgreens or anywhere that sells the Jordana pencils. It is the mechanical that roll up. You don't really need sharp pencils for your lips. A lot of people would disagree. I think they get too precise and it messes up the blend. Thank you, Angelina Dupree, for introducing me to this wine lip liner. Love it. Okay, I flip it around to the butt and I smear and blend and pull that down and blend all that together so it's not just a harsh line anymore. I start getting a smear or a gradient of color. And I bring it down the lip, inside the lip some. And this is what's going to help blend when you put the lip color on to where you don't see lined. Anytime your nose or something's itching, tap, push, tap. Do not scratch. I hope you know that, people. Now I will say this about this lip liner. It has a staining effect. So unless you're using the right makeup remover like Abilene or something, it's going to be rough to get it all off. Because it does stain. But any red makeup will. Like the orange and pink we put in our eyes from the electric palette from Urban Decay. That will leave a stain. So make sure you're using Abilene, something like that to get it off. If you use conditioner or something to that effect, after you've removed the first layer and you have the stain, get toothpaste. And it'll take the rest off. Now the good thing about a red lip, or any red toned lip, is I am a smoker, but right now it looks like I have white teeth, whiter than my highlight, and in fact, I wish. Okay, once you've pulled it down, a lot of people are like, ooh, glossing, it's done. Too easy. I want to dip into my lip colors, and typically I like to just go with an all red lip, like by OCC Lip Tar or Jeffree Star or something to that effect. Or you can even take this that I done and use like a black lip tar on top of it, and it'll have that red tint to the black lip tar. But for this occasion, I'm going to go with Red Red. It's just an NK product, found at your local wig store, beauty supply store, whatever, Sally's. And it's a Red. A slight pink tint, but it's going to go on Red. So, normally I've gotten away from using lipstick. I'm not as crazy about them anymore, because I found the lip tars and stuff. But anyways, you just want to cover the area that you smeared down up to the line of the lips. Don't get on the line too much, because you do still want a liner effect. Or what's going to happen is you're going to get a gradiated color in a minute, where the color changes, or ombres, or whatever. Just like your grandma always done, or your mama said, or whoever. Shaquita. Smack on. Do the corners. And it should blend itself. You should not have to go in there and re-blend and da-da-da-da-da. Sorry. Yet again, good old Clown White by Ben Nye. Mine is hideous inside. Some people just use the skinny end of a brush or this or that. When it comes to this, I like to get a stiffer paintbrush that I haven't used or doesn't have much anything on it. And I want to paint out some of that white highlight. Anytime it comes to lips, I like to paint. I think they look smoother, cleaner. And you're going to go right on the inside, just like this. And I'm going from the inside and painting down. And then I smear. Okay? That's it. Smack. Same with the top lip, but you don't want to put as much on it. It's that bottom lip that gives the good pout. Smack again. And you have dark to medium to light to white. So the last time that you take a little bit, make sure the inside is white, because that's where the color usually gets lost. So always make sure that center has more white to the pout. And what's going to happen is your lips are going to look bigger and bigger and bigger. After this is done, all you have to do is gloss. I prefer like MAC lip gloss, or a lot of your beauty supply stores will have a fake version called MAC, but it's spelled M-A-K. But let me tell you, it is just as good. It is thick as hell. If you're going to be doing dancing number and have long hair that's going to come down over your shoulders, maybe don't use that. It's a stickier substance, so it will catch everything. But if you're like me and you do slick ups into like ponies and falls, then yeah, lip gloss. It stays on. Don't use a ginormous amount. Squeeze out just a little bit and dab all around. But if you use too much, it'll run and your lips are going to take off down your face. For this purpose, since I'm going to be taking this off in a minute, and I don't know how much you guys know about lips, but the minute you put lips, gloss on your lips, it kind of sets that color, and I don't want them to be too much. This is a personal one that was an old nasty, you just buy it, it's a stick, and I custom made it myself when I got home, and added like a pinkish glitter, and turned it to more of a nude pink with a glittery effect. And I hate the wands with these, but for this purpose, you just kind of touch it and make sure that the colors look like they're blended. It's not always just for shine. I use this as the ultimate blend, and if it's got just a little bit of sparkle in it, that's good. Oh, I haven't used this stuff in forever. I forgot it's got like a bubblegum flavor. It's just like cheap. One last smack once it's on. That's all I'm putting for now. You guys should probably put more, especially if you've got a show. Lashes, and we're going to be done other than the final touch. And before final touch, get your liquid liner. And here's what I say. If you feel like your face is on point, if you feel like it's good, put a beauty mark on that face. My excuse is, even the prettiest things in the world have a flaw. And if you feel like it's on point, adding the flaw will enhance everything else because there's a flaw. Use it. I actually stole a technique from, I think it was Ellis in the Cunt City group, but he used a bigger circle with a tiny one next to it in a couple of spots, and I loved it. It was a little bit of an alien feel, but ever since then I've been doing it. So sorry about it if you read this, and I don't think you patented it, so it's mine now. I will use this one, and if you wear bottom lashes, make sure you come down far enough that it's going to show, or it just defeated the purpose. But I'll put a small one right here behind it. Yes. Because it's different. You can't really see the small one, hold on. It must be visible, guys. If you don't see it, make it a bit bigger. Okay? I do multiple. You guys stick with one or whatever. I joke and tell people I put it, for every title I get, I add a beauty mark.
This is Valentine's morning. So
I have one, two, and typically if I do an eyebrow beauty mark, then I add one on the other side to match, but not tonight. So we're going to have the bigger one, and a little one behind it. And also what that does is it kind of gives you a connect the dots to my eyebrow. Beauty mark. Lashes. I hope I have lash glue.
Very sad, humanity in general. But that's what it is, right? There's a broadcast called Slide Dial, who basically uses app to make the phone call, and it goes directly to their voicemail. So even if they're available and the phone's in front of them, they won't have a chance to pick it up and answer. And then you can say like, oh, I missed you, too bad. So anyway, blah, 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 get on with it. And you never have to talk to the person. So he's all enamored by this app. He's slide dialing all of us all the time now. Of course we know. And there's one tragic faux pas you're saying. I mean, maybe other people won't catch it, but I saw it happen the other day. It popped up and it said, unlimited call, missed call, and it went straight to voicemail right away. I'm like, did I press anything? It went straight to voicemail. And then the voicemail says, so it said unlisted when it first came through, but then it said Brian Burton on the voicemail. I don't know. The average person may just be like, oh, Brian Burton called me. Wow, we got on the radio show. What's he on? Yeah. You know, it might not be a big deal. But you don't like talking on the phone, right? Admit it. When someone calls you, like, oh, yeah.
There are times when I'm calling somebody
I bet I'm not a lash glue.
It makes sense.
There's a recorded message at the end of it, most of it says, you've been slide. Oh my God, I've been busted all this time. Yeah, no, sometimes I don't want to talk to you. I get that. Texting's easier. Sometimes you don't want to text me. You're going to text and you go, yeah, get back to the
Yeah. Oh,
It's so lazy. What's it take? And then whenever you tell somebody, like, oh, I didn't see your text, that's a lie. You saw the text, you said no desire to stick with it.
You got Valentine in the morning.
Okay. I like bonding glue, like weave bonding glue. That's what I prefer if you're out, which I've heard a lot of girls before ask me, what do I do if I'm out of lash glue? Oh my God, it's showtime, da-da-da-da-da. There is something that's basically the same makeup as it, you just have to give it a hair more time, and that is liquid latex. And this will work, just be more patient. Wig America 301s. 301 Wig America. That's what I prefer. You can use whatever. Normally I'll have like probably 3 pair of these. So that's 3 top lashes per eye. And for tonight though, since these are my new lashes, you're getting just a pair, but I'll make it look right. So, would I put this on my lash line? No. You want to put this at an angle at the top of that black lid that you just made, but with the inside coming down further, like closer to the lash line. But as you pull the outside up, it wants to be more towards that top black lid. Alright, I angle them, and you're gonna be like, ooh, why is she starting way out there? It's my thing. I go about halfway through the eye, at about the halfway point, and I glue it on, and I wing the end of it up to where you're going to get that effect, right? But you need to, especially if you're using liquid latex, bonding glue too, but keep pulling it up until it's dried and set. You don't want to let it fall. Especially in the center. This is where you get the winged angle. You can let the inside fall a bit, but not all the way. You still want it up, or what's the point? Lash is on. It's still kind of drying, but we'll go with it. It's really not that hard. Girls stress over this. They can't put their eyelashes on, or they freak out and can't get it right. Well, you're probably putting it right on your lash line, or right above it. And with it being that low, of course, it's going to suck. So make sure it's not. Don't put yourself through that. It doesn't look right on us anyways. We're not women. We have to fake it out. And big old makeup like we do doesn't look right with just a tiny applied lash. I hope I figure out how to fast forward through sections. I'm going to try to use Windows Movie Maker for Windows 10 that they just came out with to edit the video. We'll see. I do not put mascara on the bottom. It's pointless. I create a very thick line at the bottom. I will at the top. And while that glue's drying, try to bend your lash circular. And keep as much of that circular as you can. I'm very gentle with lashes. Some girls slap them right on. I like to be gentle and try to preserve them. Typically when I buy lashes and do my make the set, those lashes will last me around 3 to 4 months. I don't go buy new. I'll take these off and clean them if they must be clean, remove glue lines, whatever. But yeah, I want to make them last, so I'm gentle. And you have to remember, it's not real hair, it's nylon. You can get the real hair, but those are even harder to maintain in my opinion. And they don't glue correctly. They don't like to manage. Okay, should have pretty lashes. As long as you're pushing them up constant until it's getting dry. And then even after it dries, before you ever go out, when you're doing that last look at your station in the dressing room, give them another little push, because they like to sag. Make sure they're even. Again, you don't want Gia gun, and if your eyes water like mine do, getting Gia gunned is easy. Close your eyes and lift them. That way you make sure that even if your eyes are closed, they're still in the exact same placement. I don't want mine to move when I open and close my eyes. I want them to remain the prettiness. Bottoms, you can use anything. For today, I'm going to use just these cheap bow bottoms, like Walmart 45s, something. But you can use whatever you want. I don't like the spiky, where the girls paint the colors on. Ugh. I tend to not like those. Okay, so I don't know how much of that, my last video exceeded limits, so it stopped. I think it stopped after that eyelash application, and I hope so. So I'm using this program real quick just to do the finish up, and I'll just edit it in. But here, I actually like the camera better on this one too. That really pisses me off. But anyways, here you see the look. I haven't touched anything since the splice. I've been trying to figure out blah, blah, blah. But here's what we've got, okay? If you're a girl that uses hair color spray, you would hit the temples, your hairline, and then your hair, of course. But it should blend itself to everything that you just put around your face. But with the color on this program, this is what everything looks like so far. We gotta put bottom lashes on and then finishing touch, and I'm done. So I realize I talk a lot. Alright, same thing with the bottoms. Hit them with your liquid latex, your bonding glue, whatever it is you're going to use. Again, I do prefer the bonding glue, but I'm out. So I stole my hubby's liquid latex. Thank you, babe. Don't get too much. Bottom lashes are always, I like to pile it on, and I did, so be aware of that. I go to the outside corner of the eye because I almost wanted the corner of the bottom lash and the top lash to meet. I don't do this whole inside area with it. I don't see a point. I guess if you want to, you can start them over there, but I like them to be on this outside edge. You can't see it too well at the moment because the liquid latex needs to dry real quick and disappear. I got this top lash over here winged out and higher than this one, but whatever. Figure it out. Just unattach and go a little higher. As soon as this dries, you'll see the effect. I like the inside to be lifted and the outside to be flat down, so I get the bristles there, but the inside with it lifted will connect, look like it connects into that liner. So I push this part in and this part down. Okay, so there's that so far. We get the other one on and we'll do finishing touches. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it's not perfect, and I didn't go like huge giant makeup, and it's long, but somebody told me the other day that I was like, why haven't you done a makeup tutorial? And I'm like, you guys do not want to sit, I take my time, and you guys don't want to sit there and watch a 4-hour video, and they're like, I would. So those of you who want to sit and watch a 3.5-hour video or 3 hours, 15 minutes, wherever we're going to end up at, you're welcome. For those of you that don't, I hope you didn't sit through all this. Same placement. What I like about doing it on the outside edge like I do is with my eyes being the runny eyes, it completely hides it. And my eyes only run at the outside edge. I've tried everything and its brother to keep it from happening. I don't even put the black up into the waterline and still. So it's just something with me. God bless it. Alright, after that is done, you're more onto the finishing touches part. I hope you've enjoyed my paintings, Mark. Penetration, I see your Laura Ingalls and match you with Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. But I do a waterline, but I use, and I haven't found this very much, so every time I see it, and I've only found it at a wig store, I grab it. It is a liner, but it is a glitter liner, but it's a certain sort of glitter liner that I'm in love with. It has a silver and a bee effect. This is what I do that waterline with, And the only reason that I put on a waterline is because I am fat. Even though I've lost all this weight, I'm still a fat girl. And have a squintier set eye. This makes my eye look bigger and open up. And I still don't even put that much on. Just enough to add a little something something. And I know it's glitter, and everybody says don't put a glitter base on for a pageant. However, if I'm doing pageant face, I still do this. I think that people can't 100% tell what it is. That's why they don't say much. But I've not been clocked or said don't do that. Okay, waterline on. And it's just easy. I know a lot of girls do the clown white and this and that. To me, this is much easier. You've seen it was just like, you just lay it on there. And I don't know if y'all can tell. See, that side keeps falling. If I were actually doing a show tonight, I'd re-glue this. But if you can tell, it's very, opens my eye. If you do have runny eye, correct it before you move on. Do not correct it with liquid liner, not at this point. Get your black shadow, and wherever you're having the problem, just go in there and touch it up, which mine is right here. Always and forever. I thank God that's the problem I have. I've seen a lot of girls who have other problems, and there's some that I wouldn't want. Runny eye, I can deal with. I know I said don't do liquid liner, but hell, I want to make sure it's right. Typically, you wouldn't want to get it all running again, but I want it to be closed in. And if you have any of the bonding glue that did not transparency go clear enough, if you're using bonding glue, it's one of the reasons I don't. But if it didn't go clear enough, touch that up too. And I always give myself just a little bit more intense of a wing right there. Cat eye, whatever you want to call it. You may think it makes no sense, but the little touches are what a lot of people notice. Just a little intensify, touch up. Make sure that your lines are on point. If one, this is where I said earlier, if one eye has more of a point on the inside, correct it. One's going to be pointed, the other should too, right? You can do most of this with black eyeshadow though. You don't have to use liquid liner marker. Sometimes I wouldn't. But typically there's the basis of the face. And a lot of people think that every one of my photos are edited. Yeah, I use filters. They're fun. They're pretty. They look neat. I don't change the look of who I am. But this, as you can see, even with no filter, because this video is no filter for all of you people who like to claim filter whore, is very, 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 what you should be able to tell is by the way I use my process. And if you notice, I'm just making sure everything's touched up. It's very, very, very blended. That's just me, and a lot of people, even I've had some pictures that are not filtered, and they're still like, oh, filtered, and I'm like, no, bitch, it's not. And this is why. Because I have a process that ends up being smooth. You have smooth face. And they always tend to think that I go in there and smooth it all. Just make sure everything's blended together. Now the very last step, before you do the very last step, but you're gonna take your setting spray, in this case, again, hairspray, and you're gonna lightly dust it. Okay, dust. And that's not only gonna set the makeup, but it's also going to look less powder-fied. Is that the right word? Okay, this is not a necessary step. Everything else, you could walk into a pageant, you'd be fine. Yes, it's a basic. Nowadays I do a lot more and intricate, but I said I was going to give you guys the basic 101 face that done correctly. The last step is something that I do, and you can do it in a pageant, just wait till after gown. Gown should have a very smooth look, there should be no extra da-da-da-da-da, and a lot of people are against this. But I love shimmer, only in certain spots, because I don't want to look dry or musted, you know. So I use something called Urban Decay Illuminated. It is not cheap, let me warn you now. It's like somewhere between like $25 and $40, somewhere in there, but it is a shimmery powder, like a translucent sort of. I rub the brush in it. Now if you just dab it on, it'll look kind of glittery, so I take it and I do a smear with the glitter, and I get more of that shimmer effect or dewiness. So I do the height of my cheek right here. It's also going to intensify your highlight, but that's what it's supposed to do. For those of you who know how to use shimmer or know what it is, a lot of people are against it. Like I said, you do not have to do this. It's something that I've found and love, but it's going to add this just smeared in, and it's going to look a lot more moist. Ooh, a lot of people hate that word, moist. But it's gonna be an effect. Really, I use it a lot for shows, and if you're a girl that sweats a lot, this is a sweat hider. You can be sweating with it on, and people are gonna think, oh, she's just shiny. I do the T-zone areas if I'm using it. I don't always. And I kind of do my ombre brow, because I noticed a couple weeks ago I did a face, and I don't always want to, but I noticed that it went like kind of robot. It was weird, and I was freaking in love with it. So I do a little bit of the brow. If I have on a colored brow, I cover it with this. It's weird. Just the insides though. Just because I want it to dissipate or shine a little, but go away. Chin. And you might want to redip. Okay. She does wear out. Makeup on teeth. You should always do the lip lick. I'm not doing that though tonight, because this is literally almost done. So, but chin, I do the buttoned part that I erased of my nose, just to help it kind of disappear or shine. And you'll probably have to use a different brush, but if there's a brush you really haven't used, or you've used in your highlight, that's even more perfect. If you've got highlight on, this intensifies it, so you really don't have to use as much highlight. But a highlight brush, and I do the Cupid's bow first, and decide if I want more, or if the Cupid's bow alone is enough. Whatever. So I like more. I go over the points that I drew on, because what that does is makes them catch the light and fade. So you're going to get more of a rounded, supple lip. And if you did this whiting technique and didn't do a solid lip, go into that white, because it gives that effect, like, you know how the balloon people draw that little white spot on it, like the reflection? It's what it does to your lips. It gives it that bounce, that where the light bounces back off of it. Now with lips, you'll notice you'll have to do it a little bit more than everywhere else to get the right effect. But yeah, that's the process. Normally now I would move into hair, and I would do my slick up into hair color spray and da-da-da-da-da. Not necessary tonight, because I'm not doing a show, and I'm not going to get fully in for you people. So, here's your finished product. You watched it from point A to point B. There's no editing, no filter, and yet I'm hot. Anyway, that's the face. This is the basic face. God help me if I ever choose a tutorial where I do one of my Into It faces, because it'll probably be like 6 hours. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If any of you actually attempt to do this look, or just, you know, let me know. Show me a video, show me a picture with your attempt after watching the tutorial. Let me know if it helped, let me know if you liked it, leave it in the comments. I love you guys, and I hope you have enjoyed your afternoon with Memphis. Good night, dear world.